Hello fellow Runeterrans.
In today's video I want to do the impossible. Compare a 19-year-old game with a game that we don't have any details on. Yes, you guessed it right. I want to compare Blizzard's World of Warcraft and Riot Games' upcoming MMO. I want to compare the advantages and disadvantages for both games. Me myself, I don't play WoW anymore, but as I analyzed my surroundings and gamer friends, there was a very positive experience playing the newest expansion, Dragonflight. So today I want to go where I shouldn't go because it isn't fair for both games and it wouldn't justify anything. But I have too much time on my hands, so I'm going to do it anyway. If you hate this video, please dislike it. Trying reverse psychology here, okay? And subscribe. Okay, no further wasting of your valuable time, let's dive into it. First comparison is
Time consumption.
industry standards for gaming have been changing over the past 20 years. We went from a focus from long but casual attention span games like role-playing games and exploring action-adventure games to short but intense attention span games. We could argue over this, but I do feel a difference in games nowadays. I think there's a much bigger focus on the competitive nature of gaming than there was 20 years ago. Anyway, back to my original point. We have seen WoW evolve from a casual laid-back experience mindset to the completionist min-max mindset, and that's totally fine. The internet widely spread info about games in that way. Information spread faster and more easily. We have the best build, skills, armor sets, weapons at the edge of our fingertips. So it's easy to look how the game is played in the most effective or fastest way possible. While back in the day everything was new, the MMO genre was arguably a fresh take on the role-playing genre. So players were excited about the genre itself, like we saw all the PUBG and Fortnite Battle Royale reskins. The genre was the hype, not the game. In the past decade, I feel that the MMO genre itself got a lot of negative attention from gamers. Did the MMO genre really die out to replace them with the less time-consuming games we play now? I think a big challenge for Riot Games is to create a game to not feel as time-consuming but also strike a balance in investing time for rewarding content. And this brings me to my next point. I think reward systems will also be a huge challenge for Riot Games. WoW started to implement a lot of reward systems to create time-consuming content. So I think those go hand in hand, time and reward. So the player will be rewarded in one or another way, in a very short amount of time. This will give the illusion of progressing in the game. Eventually, if players figure out these systems are based on empty values, these systems become boring and repetitive. It's like using a drug. The first time, it feels great to be rewarded. And the dopamine rises up. It's the action reward system activating. After a longer period of time, we get immune to the dopamine effect and we feel like we need to be rewarded all the time to feel a little bit of satisfaction. In that sense, WoW traded the sense of accomplishment with the endless grind for satisfactory rewards. But it isn't rooted in the world we interact with. With this in mind, I think Riot Games will have to strike a balance in creating rewarding content but rewarding the player in a way that is meaningful to the world they interact with. Not useless reward systems that get thrown in a dumpster bin after a new expansion arrives. So why do we play MMOs? Some people like to level up, and a lot of people like to group up together, get loot from dungeons and raid bosses, and shine in your home city with the best gear in the game. so people can watch your characters in awe and see immediately by appearances how talented we are at the game. It's like grinding League of Legends ranked. The purpose is to get a shiny gold border or even diamond border, to eventually prove we are better in the game than someone else. So the time we spend in game, we want to feel a sense of accomplishment and progress. Okay, this brings me to the next point.
Monetization.
Monetization in MMOs has been a hot topic in the past decade. For the Riot MMO, we recently discovered in the interview with Ghostcrawler that the Riot MMO will highly likely be free to play, and we see a lot of MMOs using free to play model in combination with a box cost. There are actual in-game items we call cosmetics and other goodies that the player can buy with a separate currency tied to real money. In my humble experience, I saw too many games having super cool skins in comparison with the actual gear and weapons you would get from raid bosses and difficult endgame progression. I want people to see what I accomplished. Maybe I have a huge ego, but why would you get better in a game if you can't win a battle or acquire that sweet piece of loot you've been waiting for? I think WoW's model, especially WoW's past business model, was much more transparent and clear. A monthly subscription, that's it. No benefits, no skins, no rewards. Just like a Netflix account. Why are we all complaining paying $14 a month when a Netflix subscription is also that price? In my opinion, if I love a game, I gladly pay for that. But I am also aware of some problems for bigger companies. With a subscription, you create a paywall. And taking a subscription can feel sometimes a bit daunting, especially for new players that still need to figure out the game. Also, the monthly income is only based on your subscription numbers, and there is no other way to give players an option to pay more. And for business, that's not a good thing nowadays. There are players that give more than €50 on a game per month. Minimum, just because they like the skins. Still, I think the business model from the early WoW days were the best. But we already got a confirmation that the Riot MMO is highly likely going to be free to play like all their games. And to be completely honest with you, this worries me a bit. Look at League of Legends. The past year we didn't get any new content, the bare minimum of new champions and only one new champion video. That's poor, Riot. That's very poor. Especially for the biggest online game in the world. But what do they keep throwing at us like it's nothing? Exactly, skins. Skins is the main income of Riot Games because it's free to play. And of course, I appreciate that it's free to play, don't get me wrong. But oh boy, do they sell skins like hotcakes. It's the only content they make. Skins, you know, it's not content. It's not content, it's just character modeling. I just hope the MMO will not be based on expensive skins. Okay, and the last point I do want to mention is
the dedication to build to last.
And this is in WoW's history, as we have seen, executed with some bumps in the road. Players were changing, the game got super popular, casual gamers started to play MMORPGs, and I think it's a blessing and a curse to create a super successful game and become the industry leader by storm. Blizzard never could imagine that their take on the fresh genre would become a massive hit. And then after the success of the game, they decided to create, of course, more and more expansions and content for the game. At the time, they never could have dreamt that the game would still be alive 20 years from then. So planning content and creating innovating ways of routing this content in an ever expensive world was a bit of a tricky road for them, and I completely understand why. And they tried very hard, and I respect them for trying. Thing is that they wanted to satisfy the whole player base, and because of the more casual attention WoW got, the game became also much more casual friendly, while actually it was a very casual friendly game in the beginning. They've been investing so much time and energy to newer stuff than actually on the core systems what makes an MMO great. And I think that Riot Games has a clear advantage here. They can really prepare in advance where they want to focus their attention and energy in. If they make good core systems, we don't need new systems to cover up failed ones. What makes the MMO genre so satisfying and fun to play? Built on those pillars and the game is guaranteed for success. And of course, I am not a game developer, but I do want to dive into what makes an MMORPG a great game to play in a next video. What do you think Riot Games MMO and World of Warcraft have in common? Or will the new MMO by Riot innovate the genre and in doing so topple the king of the genre, World of Warcraft? Drop a comment below. I would love to read your opinions. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.